Okay then, the upsell page. Simple page, but a lot going on in this page. So we're going to take it through a step at a time. It's nice and steadily. First of all, just the layout. So we have a column up here. Sorry, column. We have a container up here, and again, you can use the spacing to adjust that as is your want. If you want to put any more information in there, a logo or an image or something, you could replace your name there, for example, with an image as your logo. Whatever you want to do, that's the top container there. Then we have a container here, just a one column container for the headline. Again, you can use the container spacing to lay it out, change the text, whatever you feel. This is a two column container, 1 and 2, inside which we have an image, a headline, text, and a button, which we use to buy. So again, you can play around with those. You can always remove that whole container and put in a 3-column container if you want to give 3 options, or in fact, get rid of the whole thing there and just put in 1-column container if you just want 1 optional extra. For example, you could have this column could be get this optional extra. This one could be no thanks, and the no thanks would take you to your subscription page, the third page. That's a very nice way of not losing traffic by giving them a yes no option, rather than in this situation, if they don't want anything, what do? They'll never get to the subscription page. So well worth having a I don't want these as an option. In fact, let me just show you that. For example, if we were to put in a new column at the bottom here, we could put in a no thanks, but I do want to see what's next. Whatever you want. This could be a button, it could be text, it could be anything, just to give them an option to get to that subscription page. And here I'll just hyperlink that to my subscription page, and I'll underline it so it looks like a link. Yeah, just giving them a way out so you don't lose the traffic. If they don't want to buy anything, they'll never see that subscription page. So I think that's probably quite a nice way of doing it. As I say, the other way is not to have that. You could have a just one option or extra here. So their only decision is whether or not to take the optional extra. And then here we have a no thanks with a button that links to the subscription page. And we could give it a different colour. Something like that, up to you. You can see where I'm going with that. It's basically a binary decision then. Do they take the optional extra or do they not? That's the idea of the upsell page. Let's refresh that to get us back to where we were. So lots of ways of doing that, and then terms, conditions, and disclaimer at the bottom. Right, that's the layout. Very simple. In terms of taking money, what do we do? Well, in the buttons, again, live or test payments. Let's just fill that in automatically from my browser. Let me just blank those. There's a separate video on getting your Stripe live, publishable, and test secret key, and test publishable and secret key. Rather than complicate this video, that's in a separate tutorial video. Take a look at that, and it will show you quickly how to get the information you need to put in there, and then you can choose between live and test. Always leave it on test, because then you can use that test credit card we covered in the first video. If you remember, test credit card for Stripe is all the 42s, so 42, 42, 42, 42, 42, 42, 42, 42, expiry date of 12/34, and a CCV of 123. That way you can test your funnel without actually having to use real money. And then where do they go afterwards? Well, we set it up, what they're buying. So this is the the £19 upsell, £19. Boom. And where do they go? They go to the subscription page and save that. Okay, and that would then click on the buy, and it goes to the next page in the funnel. The great thing is, and this is the power of funnels, because they've entered their credit card details once on the first page, all they need to do here is click on that button and they'll pay again. They don't need to re-enter their credit card details because they've verified them once already. All you're doing is giving them the choice of spending more money with you. This is where the power of funnels is really inherent. So when we look at this, we'll go through this at the end. I'll do a preview as a separate tutorial of the whole thing. When they click on that button, it will take their money, straight away because they've already put in their credit card details once. And from a user point of view, it's a pain to have to re-put in that information, and you'll certainly get a drop in conversion rate if they have to re-put it in. That's the parity for us in terms of payment funnels. Once they've paid for one thing once, you can have as many steps as you want, and it will just keep taking the money off that existing credit card. So that's the payment. The last thing I want to show you here is the page entry email list. Now this is optional, it's up to you if you want to do it, but I think it's very powerful. First of all, let me just switch back to the first landing page. Now what I've done here, using the default form, I've got first name, last name and email address. If I look at the form setup, first name here, last name and email, and this is the important sentence here. If applicable and use of page entry email list opt-in opt-out, set field names as first name, last name and email. So they're very important in that field name column to have first name, last name, email, because what it will do is after they've bought on this page and they go to the second page, we're going to use that page entry email list feature to put them onto a mailing list. And that mailing list is going to be for those people who have bought from page one. So you can immediately start emailing these people on how awesome they are about buying it, and would they like an accessory. However, if they then choose this, then on the next page we're going to do it again to take them off that first email list and put them on the you bought an accessory list, or the upsell list, so that you can change the email campaign to say you're awesome, you've you bought the first thing and you bought an accessory, but you didn't buy a subscription. Let me tell you all about that. If on the next page when they bought the subscription, we can then take them off that email list and maybe put them onto another email list. So we can say, hey, you bought the first, you bought the accessory, you're now my subscription. Here's a load of information about what you might need with your subscription and what it means, and so on. So we're moving people between email lists so we can follow up with an email campaign specific to where they are in that process. So let's do that. This is the upsell page. They bought the first landing page product, so we want to put them onto an email list that says you bought from the first page. We click on here and click on page entry email lists, and we want to add them to an email list on getting to this page, because the only way they get to this page is if they bought from the first one. I'm going to use MailChimp just as an example here. So I'm going to go to my MailChimp here, and in MailChimp under account and then extras, you can go to API keys. I'll set up an API key here which I'm going to copy and paste, and choose MailChimp from the drop down list here. So it's all MailChimp for me. Obviously it could be something else for you. Click on next. Oh, no thank you browser, I don't want to save a password. Okay, so it's tapped into my MailChimp. It's now saying which list do you want to put people on when they visit this page, and it's going to be the made first purchase list. If I flick back to MailChimp and look at my audience, I've got two lists here. I've got made first purchase list and purchase the upsell list, which is the next one along, which we'll come on to. So when they visit this page, having made the first payment, they're going to go automatically onto an email list that I can then follow them up with. So I select that. All visitors to this page will be added to made first purchase and close. Brilliant. So if they don't go on and do anything now, if they just drop out, I can follow up with an email campaign which says, look, you bought that, these accessories are awesome. Maybe I'll offer them a little discount, maybe I'll offer them something else instead. Whatever you want to do in your email campaign. And when we get to the next page, we'll take them off that list and put them onto, let me show you, put them onto the purchase the upsell list. So again, we can change our email campaign, change our message and everything. No more generic emails going out to people who've already bought something and you still follow them up. Far too annoying. So a lot going on this page. We've got the automatic purchase. We've got the options to change all this to a yes, no, thank you to go to the next page, or they go to the subscription if they choose one of these. Maybe you don't want them to get the subscription option if they haven't chosen accessory. That's entirely up to you. So lots of ways you can tailor this page to get your desired outcome. So that was the payment page, and we looked at adding people to an email list for getting this far and making their first payment. So referring to a couple of other tutorial videos, one is how to get your Stripe API keys, which you'll need for the buttons. And MailChimp doesn't need a video. I mean, whatever you're using, ActiveCampaign, whatever it might be, you just create your audiences or your list within your platform ready. MailChimp calls them audiences. And I'm going to do a video right at the end to preview the whole funnel, and we'll see these lists being added to as they progress through the funnel. So that's the upsell page. Any questions again? Facebook.com/groups/funnelhackerspro. Ask the questions there, and I'll be glad to help you out.